iCloud recording. Hey, just right off the start, you know what's going to happen right after this is going to run into this Zoom upload, going to go right into Speak. Zoom 𝗲𝗲 integration. Very exciting times, 𝗲𝗲𝗁. Hack that thing together.
Yeah.
Working, yeah, very, very exciting. And I think there's already a couple applications of this that are coming up for some of the people who are using our system. So I look forward to people starting to hook that up and make this whole thing automatic and beautiful. This is Office Hours 28. We get together Fridays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a guest in the house and on the show. Well, he's always on the show, but Tim, nice to see you there.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's great to have you. He brought some fruits. He brought, oh, where, one sec. Yeah, he was nice and smart. He bought one that didn't take that much management. So that's appreciative of that. Let's do it. Lauren is here. He is in ghost mode, but he made us reconfigure our hands. So we're doing 7 each. Let's do Office Hours 28. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, it's been a crazy week, a good week, short week, coming back from the long weekend. I just feel things are moving quick, but also moving more efficient and more, maybe this is just a good, sometimes there's these things in life where you're just like, everything feels too good until something breaks. But I feel like we're moving quick, things are happening, and it's more smooth. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. And we're gonna hope to continue that trend. Quickly, 𝗕𝗏 𝗏. You know what? This is what I'm interested in right now, is telling stories through data. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but maybe just a quick intro from everyone here. I am, I guess, the CEO. I don't like that term, founder, 𝗕CCE, and grateful to be surrounded by good people, and let you guys make a quick intro, and then we'll hop into some topics for today. We got some good ones here.
All right. Can you guys still hear me? Alrighty. I'm Lauren. My video is not working at the moment, but hopefully someday it'll come back here. I'm the accountant. I do administrative work and just keeping things afloat, keeping all the numbers balanced. And yeah, it's been a fun ride with these fellows.
Can't see it. Lauren has a beautiful mustache right now. And Lauren also was instrumental in his role of head of security this week as well too. So thank you, Lauren.
Come on, Lauren, we have some time. Let's figure out the camera.
I may leave and come back and see if that helps.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
I guess I'll go here, and name's Tim. I'm a product developer at 𝗕CCE, and been really seeing how over the past couple of weeks, if not more, we've been largely gaining momentum in this inertia toward data-driven decisions toward what we're building. Really looking forward to bringing this topic up, and excited at being here.
Oh, we got 2 Laurens now. Oh, there's 1 Lauren on camera. Here he is. Hello, other Lauren. Can I ask you to? Oh, here we go. 1 sec. I'm not gonna report you. Just oh. All right. You know what, 𝗲𝗏, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm 𝗲𝗏, digital strategist here at Speak. Do a lot of writing, do a lot of thinking, do a lot of talking to everyone on the team, and yeah, it's exciting to be this far down the office hours rabbit hole.
There we go.
Like that. This is probably my 17th one, I guess.
Holy shit.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I like that you've taken up what you said last time, which is like the no man. That's good to have some no men's on the team. I appreciate that a lot. Lauren for a while was the resident of that. 𝗲𝗁 would come in very swiftly sometimes with that. But you have a solid ongoing strategy of saying no. So thank you for that. Everything has gotten better since you've joined here. So grateful for that. Okay.
Yep. Okay. What's all here? CTO at 𝗕CCE, working on the engineering side, building the product, along with lately moved on the customer segmentation side, trying to reach out them, and had my first official sale, the first subscription this week. So I'm very excited about that. It is not about as an individual, but it is more about as a team, getting close to the more understanding about the customer and why are they signing up, and trying to connect them and see how are they even doing, and how we can help all together. So that's a main focus lately, and enjoying a lot of stuff on the machine learning side. Spend some time over the weekend on the GPT-3. Nothing solid right now on my end, but at some point, as we talked about last week on the GPT-3, the whole episode, or the previous one maybe. So looking forward to see and bring some innovations to the product to help more customers, and very excited about today's talk.
Beautiful. I guess just to keep that trend going, Vatsa, you've got sort of, connected with this is this integration of intercom into our system, and maybe just want to set that up, and we can have a discussion about how that's helping us connect already and some of the opportunities there.
Sure. I mean, we were using, there's still a good application called Drift, and it's sort of a live chat, but intercom took a lot of places over there, because they have the outbound lanes, inbound lanes, and also you can do the product tour and a lot of other stuff. And I was yesterday, after the production release, I was playing around with this intercom and found a beautiful flow, how we can nudge the customers based on their action. And even if they don't take any actions, we can still send them an email and update them, as we are working on throughout this week on the onboarding and how we can improve our workflow. I don't know, that completely exactly fit what we are looking for. And the goal, what we talked about this week, was to have 100% onboarding if the user signed up, and that is the goal, and that help us to nurture that around building the applications in a way that can help our users easily, and also they can just send a message, a feedback, any suggestions, or also the product tool. So Nihal had just write up the beautiful updates on what is coming in and what are the changes updated. So we might be thinking at some point today or Monday to push on through the intercom to all these users. But the condition was like, send the updates to the users who are already on board, or maybe more than 100 days or 150 days, or maybe 14 days at least above the free trial, so they can see the update, what is going on, what are the new changes, and expire that update after 2 weeks. So because obviously we are going to release more updates as per in our time pipeline, so that we can always push those notifications to the users and see if we can find any triggers. So that is very exciting, to setting up the intercom and the whole infrastructure around that. And even the product tool, which I'm working on at this moment, to see also you guys at some point next week, how are we planning to show them the product tool to the new customers, and also specifically on the onboarding side, if they are missing something, how we can help them to navigate, hey, here it is, here you go, here you can find. So that is very exciting.
I think just one thing that we've talked about a lot, probably heard a lot as well too, is like, people signing up for maybe slightly different reasons, or jobs to be done, or tasks that they're taking through the application to produce value. So I think what I get really excited about, both from intercom, but then also some of the stuff that we're working on with email, is like, depending on what you're doing, who you are, and what you're trying to accomplish, there's very relevant information, and then there's a lot of irrelevant information. So the more that we can sort of personalize this journey for someone to get that aha moment very quickly, or produce that value, is exciting. And it's nice to be able to have finally some of the segmentation and ability to do that. Grateful to have intercom. And also, like, it seems like, or we watched a talk we were talking about it last week, but that intercom, and like just so precise on how they talk about intercom, why this woman was so excited to join the team. And you can see it when it's built into the product and just the interface, and just a great experience overall, that's replacing several applications at once that are usually, quite extensive in terms of pricing and sort of ways to tie them all together. So they've done a fantastic job at intercom, and look forward to exploring that more. It's
definitely a complex product in terms of to get hands-on quickly. And so, I mean, that makes sense why they have the whole intercom community around helping you through the academic courses and also the articles. to what is that about and how you can make it more impactful into your product. So that is brilliantly done throughout the whole different features.
Nihal, you've been writing some emails, I guess. Any thoughts on this?
On like feature adoption and helping people complete onboard?
Yeah, just we've had some really good discussions lately. Like we did this sort of switch from free trial to, or sorry, freemium to free trial, did sort of some tests of emails, and now, understanding what's sort of working, what's not, doing some experiments. But I think along the way, realizing there's sort of these crucial moments where we should be communicating directly with users and relevant, valuable information. And yeah, just how I guess you're thinking about this, and the shift that we've seen over the last couple of months as we focus more on this part.
Right. I think the biggest thing that's, and we talked about this the last time as well, but it's been interesting to see that with the free trial, it hasn't really slowed down signups. If anything, it's accelerated signups, and these signups that have come in have, I mean, super small sample size, but we've gotten more like kind of organic signups in the past, like since switching to the free trial, than when we just had it open, like when it was free for forever, essentially. Which I thought was interesting, because you think about a lot of these apps that gain a lot of traction through, like free models, and maybe in the future we'll have a way of efficiently bring that back to the public. But I think, especially when you're a younger company and maybe not deep, like consumer focused, you don't really benefit from having a free offering to the public. Whereas with the free trial, you're almost more able to give them a more complete set of solutions, like use the entire platform, and if you like it, sign up for a plan. Which I thought has been interesting. And with that, we've also seen a shift in our mindset as well, where we're trying to go after, understanding what exactly is making people either, complete the onboarding, the people that actually convert for signing up for an app, signing up for a subscription, and even people that have left the platform. I think now we're trying to put a bit more effort into, I forget the name, but basically trying to get people who have churned back onto the platform, or at the very least, provide us with feedback on why they left, right? So that'll help us better define the areas we need to improve on, the areas we maybe need to focus on a bit better. If for example, if people are struggling with onboarding, maybe it's time for us to do it, put a sprint to work on that. If people are struggling with actually understanding the platform, maybe we need to integrate better education within the platform. And now that we have Intercom, maybe through Intercom, leveraging that to actually get people to understand what they're doing with our platform as well. Apart from that, some insights that I think we've seen come in from, let's say, our initial run at an email flow, like reworking the email flow, was, one thing we decided was we're probably sending too many emails. So that was a nice little insight, because what we saw was with the welcome series, we got engagement towards the start, maybe the midpoint, and then the end. So it kind of made the middle emails in between those touch points kind of redundant, because I guess people were just getting burnt out from the emails. And you actually saw that with, we can see the number of people that unsubscribe and stuff. And like the welcome series, which had the most number of emails, also had the highest number of unsubscribes, right? So that was a fun little insight. Something I guess, just from general marketing statistics, but it's also good to know and see it for yourself, because then you're able to adjust accordingly. And then I think what surprised me, for instance, was within our free trial, like when the free trial was ending, people didn't really care when they were halfway through, but then when they had 3 days left and the final day, those two emails actually had the most engagement in that kind of flow, which kind of indicates, I guess, the people that did open it at the 3 days left maybe were close to converting or weren't, and then they either did or didn't, which I think provides an opportunity to optimize that process to maybe hop on a call with them and try to understand what would get them to even just sign up for like a $15 a month plan, which would be great. I want to say it's because of my subject lines, and maybe they're just like, what the hell is this? Because I think one of my subject lines is like, the end is near, and that one has like a 40% open rate, which which works, right?
That's all with my face on there. Doomsday.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's just just a couple parts that was just like one of the tweets that's what we were talking about this week was the guy who I can't remember his name, but the guy who created Copy AI did a little employee structure of Superhuman, I believe, the application, and like who they hired. And the first like 25 hires are just onboarding specialists and like customer success specialists. So there's something that remains to be seen about the work that we need to put into the onboarding and the first original experience to then build the value throughout. And talked about that a little bit yesterday. We also had bombarded Tim with a meeting. Tim has been taking over sort of the Amplitude, which we used to do some product stats and statistics, and then also some of the onboarding experience. And basically Tim is also trying to figure out like why what even, for example, what method of trying to upload media or actions when you first onboard in the app are leading people to find value versus not. And maybe Tim, if there's any thoughts you want to add about sort of this topic, but maybe also transitioning into some of the stuff around, just keeping these data-driven decisions, because a lot of this is like a lot of decisions we made this week, and even what as 𝗍 just said is like, we looked at open rates and found, that these emails weren't delivering value. So that's why we made the decision instead of just going by feel and intuition, which plays a role, but is not always the most valuable thing. So I guess just any thoughts from your work on onboarding, and then also, the topic that you want to introduce today about the momentum of data-driven decisions.
All right. Sure. I'll try to, I guess, to start with thinking of how it went with onboarding in the very beginning was, in the very beginning of this feature development life cycle, we made a lot of assumptions. And those assumptions were informed indeed, but they were not data-driven. And we were a little bit like blind cats walking on a dark alley, really not, we did our best. And now, after weeks of gathering data on not only the what users select as their preferred method, but as well as data points like their operating systems or size of their screens, and even whether it's mobile or desktop. With all these data points, we're now learning that there are tendencies to, there are tendencies that are reoccurring predictably, and that from which we can now iterate on this onboarding flow. And what you're saying is that there is so much power in figuring out the customer, just the not completion, not conversion, but the activation of customer that is happening throughout this process. It's a journey up the hill because it's full of friction. Thinking of anything new in your life would demand lots of energy just to apprehend and to realize the value. But more than that, it's the competition with every other service and every other new thing that the user has in their life besides Speak that are to be incorporated into their workflow at work or in personal life. Having many of these use cases, we did end up with a very, we did end up looking back into the history and the foundations of Speak AI, the pillars, and having them in mind to capture, to analyze, and to share, produce the value. We are now seeing that there are friction points unique to every niche method, and that there is the work that we can do that is very meaningful and that is very data-driven in this case. So I guess to conclude from this onboarding, it's like designing the front gate of your property. And we had to think lots about the core of the product, how do we really produce value, and then deliver and share that, sorry, to teach the user in the very beginning, the very first impressions. Very exciting to work on that. But I guess if,
For us, it's, it's a really exciting time to have systems in place to actually sort of capture this data cleanly and organize it so that we can actually make use of it. And then I was just looking back at like metrics from new users, earlier when we had Speak, when we didn't have these systems in place, but also like 9 people would sign up a month. Now some days we have 9 people sign up a day. So there's definitely like it's also just heartwarming to have enough information that, like, as you said, there's almost predictions that we can make. And it's still a very small sample set or data set that we have, but you can extrapolate and learn a lot very quickly from this when there's a bit bigger of a number and a tipping point for us to learn from. So excited to have all these things in place. And we took a long time, took a lot longer than I thought to get these things in place. And I think there's still lots of holes and challenges in data integrity and accuracy, but at the same time, we're getting there, and that helps a lot for everything that we're doing. Lauren, oh, Tim, you can go ahead too.
Absolutely. Just maybe one more thought. One more thought on this. There's countless number of holes and things that we still need to do. But having established and installed the tech and started with a blank sheet and drawn out very first sketches of even data taxonomy of our events is sketchy, and it does require work. But I'm now realizing a lot that in this product-centered environment that we're establishing around it, it's how would I say that? It's a live document. It's alive, and it is evolving with the rest of the product, with user stories. It is evolving alongside our corporate clients and all the feedback that we get. And I hope that this inertia that we got from onboarding will, I hope that we hop on the same train with other parts of the application that are valuable, and that we can iterate on them as well with this data-driven approach.
All right, crispy, Tim. All right, came with a topic. I appreciate it. Lauren, I guess, first of all, you didn't bring a topic today, so
I think we got plenty to go through.
Do you have anything that's sticking out for you so far? Any thoughts from your end?
Just on the topic we're talking about right now, or
if you want to say anything there, anything, just we'd love to hear from Lauren. And it's been too long. It's been 30 minutes and we haven't heard anything from her.
Okay. Yeah, just as far as setting up these data capturing systems like Amplitude and stuff like that, I think it's very important that before you even really look at the data, you kind of have to set up the expectations of what you think you're going to see, and then if it doesn't meet those expectations, then there are the holes that we have been talking about, and just like expectations as far as like user behaviors, which is important to keep a track of and figure out like why we had those expectations to begin with. And you should probably write down these expectations too. Like before you go anything, you kind of have to make a plan, write it down, and write down the changes to the plan. So amplitude can help just giving us the flat numbers, but there is quite a bit of user behavior that I don't think that we're 100% capturing in like a very specific way, like a data-driven way. It's more like based on conversations that we're having through intercom. And before that, it was live chat. Was that the one we were using before that? Yeah. And still, it's just very, very unstructured. It's very hard to figure out, how to even really organize that. It just seems like kind of you're putting out fires as they come up, as opposed to, setting expectations of what people are going to come and say to us and how we're going to deal with that. Moving along though, you had the topic of new development versus quality of life improvements. I was kind of confused by that a bit. I'm kind of confused by quality of life exactly, and what that refers to. Is this just referring to like the product, and like quality of life is more so making sure like what is there already is already fully fledged out, or is quality of life more of a heuristic thing you're going for, like an improvement on something else there?
I'll give you an example that we saw, 𝗕𝗏 and I saw in a call with one of our prospective customer who was using the application, and he was going to the Explorer page and he was trying to view the insights, and every single time that he would refresh that page or do a search, he would then have to go back and do the time filter or date filter, pick the filter that he wanted. And it was like, how can we like reduce this amount of clicks, or how could we improve this? Is like, again, this idea of like quality of life. How can we improve this? And so sort of reported that to 𝗏𝗏𝗁, and it's like, it was this guy to click it like 6 times at least during this thing. And so he made, 𝗏𝗏𝗁 quickly was like, okay, let's make us, I don't know if the term is save state, but basically stores what your filter was and then keeps it that way. So next time you go and visit that Explorer page, it just remains with that filter and you don't have to add that extra click. And then just one more was 𝗕𝗏 even asking yesterday was, he was doing a little experiment with some text notes in the application. And he said, I'm writing tags and I have to keep, adding this tag over and over again. Is there any way that it could pre-populate as I start typing? So I think that's like this idea of quality of life with the system that we already have. How can we make, even if they're micro improvements that reduce clicks and improve the entire user experience versus, let's launch into an entirely new development or function or solution within the application that adds, maybe more power to the system in some ways, but also then dilutes our effort on making the core experience that we already have better.
Sure. Isn't that kind of like the point of cookies? They're supposed to remember all of your past inputs, and then it kind of
no, just to be clear out, we don't store any sensitive information on our application from user. And also when we talk about the amplitude or tracking the details, all the data we don't have any sensitive information from our users. So when we talk about tracking their browser or what the activity they do, we just have the numbers about the action. So for example, if a Lauren as a user is on the app.𝗏𝗏𝗏, we just know that the user is on this page and use uploaded media. So we don't have any other sensitive information access to anyone at Speak. So just to clear about who are listening, that when we talk about the data-driven, when we talk about storing the data and stuff, we also make sure about the security and privacy about the user. So this is not about like losing your privacy and security because the platform wants to understand what do you do. So I hope that is more clear about when we talk about the data-driven and the understanding about what are they doing. So just wanted to put that one before we continue. Back to you.
Isn't what you're trying to
that is called the state. That is called the state which we store on the application. So as soon as you signed out, the data is gone, and there is nothing stored on the browser memory or browser cookies or anything. That is sort of a in application state we use to handle those informations while you are on those pages. So even if you close the browser, we lose the state, we lose what you have even typed. So it has not nearly to do anything with the cookies or saving your details on the browser memory.
I guess you would agree that keeping some of the settings, such as a customization of a particular filter or a library or a dashboard would be meaningful?
We do save, for example, the layout. So for example, what type of the layout in terms of the sidebar menu, different navigations and stuff, but we would like not to store any of those details. We might fetch those details from the backend or something, but not to save any sensitive information. Could be their tags, could be the filter memory, anything for the ease for the users on the browser. I mean, not to negotiate in terms of the privacy and security for the ease of the user. There are other workarounds to get to that point about what the users are expecting to do on the application. So we will try to do from the backend, but the idea about storing the filter memory and stuff, that is not ideal for the end user, that the details are saving on the browser memory. That could be the sensitive, because that is not, let's say this is for the business, so that might not be tricky. But if there's any personal notes or anything, that is, I mean, risk about, having those access through the browser memory. So I hope that connects everyone's point here, and also making sure about the security stuff.
Yeah, so I would like to drill a little bit deeper and one more follow-up question to this. Our browsers do take care of our privacy, don't they? I know that Safari is very careful with the privacy and sharing the information to track you all over the internet. They're very careful.
Yeah,
while
we are, for sure. It is just about, we are not going to make such decisions where user privacy is on the equation. That was the sentiment around.
And cookies are going away very soon, next year. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Not necessarily for maybe, actually, I don't really know how that impacts us, to be honest, but it definitely impacts people who are doing advertising. So there's going to be a pretty big shift in usage of technology, understanding users next year. And it was actually supposed to, I believe, happen this year or at the start of next year. And Google is obviously a big driver of this, delayed it because it was causing such fear for companies who have relied on cookies for so long. So I think this is a good time. This is a good shift in the world where people have rightfully so said, I want amazing user experiences, but I also want to have my privacy protected, and I want to be cared about with the amount of data that I emit. And so, as an advertiser, sometimes you see the dirty back end and the world back there that is possible. And but then as a person, you're like, wow, I would like this to not be the world that necessarily we are part of. So I'm excited to sort of try, the work that we've done has been trying to empower sort of data analysis and, do a lot of amazing stuff with data, but also do it in a pretty responsible, safe way that still produces a lot of value. And I think that's just, another thing for us to think about is, in new development versus quality of life improvement, a quality of life improvement might just be making sure that users, as they upload more and more media into the system, feel more safe, feel more secure, that they have a good partner and a solution for their work that they're doing. And so I think that was just the main thing. Like, we have so many ideas, we have so many things in the product roadmap, so many things we would love to build. But as we see more adoption and more increased usage, and I would say that people are seeing our system as a valid system today, like that feels good, of like, this system is valuable already. Of course, this would be a nice to have or need to have, but this already does a lot of the things that we're trying to do. There's a switch that we have, and I feel mentally that in the past, I didn't feel confident enough in our application to deliver value. Now we've made that switch over. And of course, again, there's things that we want to improve, but it's a nice moment to have. And it's great to see people, care about what we're doing and need it and want to use the system as it is.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. And even though all this data are also anonymized by their email or first name or last name, except the user ID, so we can understand who is the user is.
Okay. Trying to, now that I've said this preamble here about, how the system is, good as it is, and that, but, that's, the reason we're here, because we're innovators. We want to build We want to do some really interesting things. And one of the ongoing discussions we've had has been, people are taking media, uploading into their system. First of all, there's a cost. There's a cost uploading into the system. Either you're subscribing for the plan, or if you're, past the parameters of your plan, then you're paying on a per minute basis, even for transcription and analysis kind of idea. And so the goal has been, okay, if you upload a media, how can we return that investment? How can we make that investment worthwhile? And so one of the ways that we're trying to do that is figure out different ways to repurpose this media, visualize it, obviously give better ways to access and search it and save time interacting with that data. One of the things I wanted to bring up quickly, this is partly egotistical because I designed this, but it would not have happened without all you guys, was this infographic sort of idea. And we've been talking about this for a really long time, but the way the system creates data and then structures it is so meaningful. And as a person who loves data visualization, it unlocks a lot of potential for the application, both on a single file, but also on a multi-file. So I wanted, with permission, I got the ability to share one of our, friends of the show, friends of the company, Microdose. And what we did was took a video that they had uploaded into the system, awesome keynote presentation by 𝗕𝗏𝗁, and basically started to try to create something a little bit more visual and distill the information that Speak has always distilled, but put it in a way that's interactive and engaging and compelling. And one of the main ideas here, specifically for Microdose, but what I can see, not just being for this company, but across people who are doing virtual events or conferences or podcasts, what the goal of this in a way is to give a representation of the conversation or the presentation just have, but also to me, what I see here is this compels me. Seeing this makes me want to listen to the talk. And I think that that's something that is really exciting too. And so broke this idea down of, 𝗕𝗏𝗁 being the keynote at the 𝗖𝗿𝗄𝗃 conference. Here were the keywords that 𝗕𝗏𝗁 used, with a little sort of numeric representation of, what these keywords and phrases are, little image to represent it. A lot of it was sort of research and science-based. Because we have not just occurrences of keywords and phrases, we actually have duration in seconds or minutes for topics. You can also start to do a little bit of a visualization around what Rick was talking about during the 60-minute presentation. Really sort of cool. And if you're, a person and you're very interested in psychedelic drug researchers, that piques your interest. It's like, wow, I would love to hear Rick talk about this, and then makes that media more accessible and desired. So I think like that part has been really interesting. And then just a couple other cracks that I took at this, which was, what locations were mentioned. And I think maybe this isn't as perfect as I, would like, but you can start to see sort of a little sort of map of what Rick had been talking about, the locations that he had mentioned. And it had been Israel and Brazil, Canada, North America, Mexico. And then lastly, this idea of like people mentioned. And, what was really interesting was, it was sort of bland looking before, but I took the person who was mentioned most and then inserted an image of her into it. And this is just sort of a prototype. I said to Microdose and obviously to the team here, I am not a designer, so this is my attempt. But what I thought is it took something that had felt so abstract to me for years, and it built it into something that was concrete enough to show people, and then also get a really good feedback. And Microdose is planning on adopting this, and then even building ones in different aspect ratios with different visualizations. So to me, it felt like a polished maybe is debatable, but an end product of Speak that is valuable and can create value there. So I just wanted to take a minute. And then the last part is just like, we're so close to making this entire thing automatic. The only part that's basically not automatic here is the image of Rick, this image, and this image. Everything else, I could just replace the data and it would automatically update. And we even have things within the Speak system where we have their logo and we have their brand color. So we could basically automatically generate this on a single video, or ideally even, over multiple videos, or for example, full conference that Microdose did. So yeah, it just made me so happy and so excited. And it took so long to try to figure that out. So appreciate you sharing, helping me get there. And, you know, I hope it feels rewarding to build technology that aligns with the vision that you have and to see it all to come together. So I just wanted to share that a little bit today. And if you have any thoughts or feedback, or how can we do this better? How can we design it better? What's missing? How can we use this sort of productized output that we see the potential of 𝗏𝗏 to continue to grow the organization and then make the investment of media even better?
As a thought, perhaps, on the side of the expert, it is very much aligned with what we've been attempting to do for a long time. That's this sharing part, the production of this value. And on one side, it's very, so we now see polarity as to how do we create that value. And if you see here, Tyler mentioned that these infographics enable you to ask yourself a question as to, is this interesting? Is this combination of people and topics is something you want to participate listening to? And conversation originally will have different topics, and not all the podcasts are interesting to listen to. So that's sort of the insight. That's connection of data points from inside the media. And on the other side of this is something we worked upon for a while. It was the hyperlinking into our documents, text documents. And that hyperlinking was this external connection with the web. So I guess I'm wondering, do we need the combination of both? And what are the users who would benefit from this internal linking? I'm imagining myself, I would love to see the topics that are mentioned in that podcast instead of listening to the 2 hours, or the clips that are taken, so that they're the clips that are optimized for a wider range of viewers. I'm seeing this as this automated summarization, and it would be very useful for me as a just podcast consumer. But could we compare that? Could we compare that, this sort of creation of these infographics with hyperlinking? I guess, would you have any thoughts?
I'll just add quickly, it's the first thing, one of the first things when I showed the team at Microdose this morning was, could we embed this into a web page and make it interactive? So like, first of all, the one layer of interactivity is like hovering over the graph and seeing a little pop-up and seeing what, insight that is. But I think the next level of that is, if we're talking about the DEA, what is the DEA? And can you click and then pop open a web reference? So instead of, basically you're creating knowledge. I think that's the part that really compels me here is, sometimes, it takes too long to process through an hour-long conversation. But if you distill it down, there's some really relevant and important pieces of information. And, for myself personally, if I'm like Rick Dobbin, who's a, personal hero of mine and has a deep well of knowledge, is talking about this thing and I don't know what it is, I want to learn about it. And if I don't even have to search it, there's actually a relevant click that I can make. That's a really powerful way to amplify knowledge. And we've heard over and over again this idea of like knowledge mobilization. And I think this is a possible way to do it. And then just along with the hyperlinking, we've done some stuff with Wikipedia libraries, often comes images. So I was saying to Nihal, like, it's cool to do word clouds, but why, what would be really cool is to do word clouds that actually use the logo of the company. So it actually shows the design of the logo and not just the word itself. So that's the possibility of doing this in the right way, of taking valuable information and displaying it and blending this art and science and math and love of language all together into visualizations that are valuable and compelling and give you information with just an image or a graphic. So I think there's still a lot of work from our side to figure out how to best do it, but I think we're getting closer and closer to it. Okay, oh, thumbs up. All right, okay, I'll take that. We're at 12:50 EST. I guess we have 10 minutes here. Anyone, this is open house. Anyone have anything that they want to chat about after a short week, after a long weekend, and after I consider a really a good week? I feel energetic and fired up at the end of the week, which is sometimes a better feeling than exhausted and beaten and beaten.
That is sort of the balance.
Down.
That is sort of the balance. That was I was wishing in the morning that I hope I don't have the same Friday I had last week, or maybe last week. So far so good, because we released a new update yesterday late night. Pretty smooth production release yesterday. It went well. So yeah, that is good. I was just more thinking towards how about the capturing the media at the same time, and it's like now the Zoom just updated, and if you can see in the bottom area there are the apps, and in the apps there are only 4 or 5 applications who all of them does just the transcription, but if you I don't know, so far I only found the one who does the people insights, and the people insights called 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗲 people insights productivity app, who just does the insights throughout what happened in the meeting a little bit. Still unsure about what exactly they do, but it's pretty interesting to see if we have the app, and still pretty new. It's called the Zoom apps. The whole infrastructure, the whole idea around the Zoom apps is integrate during the meeting, so you don't even need to connect. I mean, obviously you need to allow the permission for the one time, but we might have the opportunity here to have it's 𝗕ecie here, gone here. Of course, 𝗲𝗲 is here, which do the live transcription, which seems like a new thing they are doing now. So yeah, that is pretty cool to see, and having those visualizations or the infographics connect with those 2 dots, that would be the brilliant execution if we one day, but that would be the mind blowing. As soon as you complete your meeting, you have the infographic ready in your email or whatever, in your dashboard or something, right? So I mean, again, the thing we talk about is like, are we solving today's problem or tomorrow's problem? So that could be the tomorrow's thing, when everyone is exhausted by the transcription thing and started thinking about, like, you know, still that is we'll see how does that work around.
You said one day, so you're saying it'll be ready tomorrow? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you got it. Right? So that's what you got when you work for a long time. And
you know, just I'm sorry, but like when I think of, okay, the infographic part, but then even, you know, Tim, you know, we've been pretty busy here, so this is, you know, has been the outside, but like we had that sort of simple prototype of like the NER happening in real time, and you know, you brought up this 𝗲 real time sort of transcription. I see the real-time transcription, but somehow sort of animating a screen or doing a screen share and illustrating what you're talking about. And I just, you know, probably a future problem, maybe not even a future problem, maybe just a cool thing to have, but well, give a damn, it will come to life one day. And I look forward to sharing that joy with you, and even maybe having an office hour one day where we use that tool for ourselves to illustrate the concepts that we're talking automatically. So I'm sorry for bringing that up. I love you guys. Anything else from anyone here has some thoughts before we close out this office hours?
No, not really. All good. Just the same plug we did last week. If someone is hearing for the first time, if you have the expertise into helping us into the different ways, the one we talk about is, of course, the visualizations, which is connecting with this infographic, or also the in application inside which we have the explore search page, which we talk a lot about before. But I want to nurture that little bit and see how we can make it more impactful and make it more useful, and see more usage and growth around that, because we spend a lot of time to build that explore page and dashboard and inside the word cloud and stuff in app. So how we can make it more useful in that way. Maybe if you have any thoughts, any ideas, you can sign up for 14 days free trial, give a look on the explore search page, upload a couple of videos, and let us know. So that's a one plug I just wanted to add in.
Love it. Okay, yes. I have nothing else to add. 𝗲𝗏, you're good? Okay, Lauren?
It's all good.
Lauren, just quickly with Lauren, we talked about a lot of sort of data stuff through our application today and how we're trying to figure out user behavior. But one thing we've also improved immensely has been the data work that we do from a financial side of the business and how we understand business metrics. And that work together, like Lauren and that's when I used to have these financial reviews that feel like they would take like an hour and they would be very painful. And now they're like smooth and they're not so painful. So like, thanks Lauren for pulling that. And I think, I've seen your work even now to automate a lot of these things, which is fantastic. So freeing you up to do even higher level activities that you want to do. So grateful for that. And just everyone, like even Lauren the other day was talking about doing more. He wants to do some sort of courses on like data visualization. And I just feels good to be around people who want to learn new skill sets and try to, take what they already have, but just enhance it even more. And anyone, Lauren, you might become a resident data viz person. Who knows? Maybe add another role to the team. So thank you, Lauren. Tim, you're good? Okay. All right. Thumbs up for everyone. Okay. Thank you so much for anyone who joined this, watched it, read it, listened to it. Love you all. Thank you for all the support and excited for lots more things to come.
Thank you so much.
Take care.